I'll be honest, right off the bat, this is probably the most AI news that I've talked about in quite some time. Some big stuff is going on. Overall, it's just been a jam-packed past few days. Essentially, those past few days have changed the shape of the future of AI forever. So yeah, saying there's a lot to talk about would be an understatement. Some quick MattVidPro AI channel-related things. 1. Yes, I'm feeling better and I am no longer sick. 2. Yes, I absolutely do need a haircut. It's a disturbing problem. And 3, that subscriber bug, where I was telling a lot of you guys that you needed to resubscribe because YouTube was unsubscribing you. People are now reporting that it's actually a visual glitch, and that you aren't actually being unsubscribed from my channel at all, and that you need to refresh the page or restart your browser. So, with that out of the way, some of the most important highlights from today's AI news dump. Leaked ChatGPT information as well as big ChatGPT updates. The United States government released AI regulations, which is a pretty big deal. There's been an outcome on a very important court case for AI as well. Again, shaping the future of the legal structure around AI. And I've also got some very important updates in the AI music and video world as well. So all of that and more coming right up in today's video. But first, a word from our sponsor. Before we dive into the rest of today's video, I want to talk about today's sponsor, Wirestock. Now, Wirestock is a platform that distributes AI art to all major stock image platforms out there. We're talking places like the Adobe Stock Marketplace, 123RF, Imago, and a plethora of other ones as well. Now, the best part is that Wirestock allows you to put your AI image generation skills to use by either uploading or using their built-in SDXL generator to actually make some money on your AI art. Wirestock's implementation of SDXL is very well done, with a nice user interface that has all of the features. Different styles are baked right into the website. They've also got that beloved image-to-image SDXL feature, which Wirestock has used to make 3 different modes. First up, a regular image-to-image called Reimagine, dual image blending called Image Mixer, and Face Swap, which allows you to blend 2 different faces. Hey, and if you don't use SDXL to create art, that's not a problem at all. Of course, like normal, you can upload any of your DALL-E 3 creations, or Midjourney, whatever generator you want to use. When your AI art does get used on one of the many marketplaces Wirestock uploads to, the revenue split is some of the best I've seen, an 85-15, meaning you keep 85% of the revenue. And plus, to help your art sell easier on those platforms, they have built-in automated keywording. You'll also be able to check out your earnings in real time with monthly payouts. You can get started for free with their basic plan, but they do have 2 paid plans you can upgrade to. And if you decide to go that route, don't forget to use my code MattVidProAI at checkout for a 20% discount. This is by far the best implementation I've seen of AI art monetization yet, so if you want to make some cash on your AI talents, get started today. Thanks to Wirestock for sponsoring today's video, and now back to your regularly scheduled programming. Welcome back. The channel would not be possible without our sponsors. So guys, let's kick this off with a major update that is coming to ChatGPT. Alex Volkov on Twitter here is saying that ChatGPT is now multimodal on both input and output. So essentially, gone are the days of swapping between all the different models. This is now allowing us to do that thing that we've all wanted to do ever since GPT-4 Vision and DALL-E came to ChatGPT, which is send it an image and then have it recreate that image in a different style or in a different way by using that multimodal capability. So this is rolling out kind of slowly. I still don't even have it yet. I think the benefits of this are pretty obvious, though. It's a little bit less confusing. You don't have to have different chats for different tasks. You can have everything just in one place, all of your tools. So Yiding is sharing this on Twitter. As you can see, the file upload icon is now available to some users in ChatGPT on the phone, but this does mean that we can now upload all of our PDFs and different file types to ChatGPT. Again, this kind of goes hand in hand with that all tools in one place. And okay, this might actually be the most interesting ChatGPT news that we have today. As Felix here on Twitter points out, Microsoft's new paper claims that ChatGPT 3.5, aka the free version of ChatGPT, is around 20 billion parameters in size. Now, those of you who aren't familiar with parameter counts in large language models, 20 billion is actually pretty low by today's standards. standards. So this would mean that the free version of ChatGPT GPT 3.5 Turbo is actually a very efficient model and a lot better than we thought for its corresponding parameter count. Now, the size that we thought this model was before was around 180 billion, so the fact that it's actually 20 billion is quite a shock. As you can see, the full GPT 3.5 Text DaVinci model is that size, and GPT-4 is probably very large as well. But for such a small model, it's quite a performer, so it shows you that OpenAI is really a powerhouse and they can do really good LLM architecture. Alright guys, now let's dive into the White House's release, the executive order to establish some control over AI by the government. They want to lead in developing safe, secure, trustworthy artificial intelligence. I did read it yesterday. In fact, I tried to make a whole video on just this yesterday, but I'll be honest with you guys, I just couldn't do it. I don't have the same amount of knowledge as a lot of professionals have, so I just felt like I couldn't comment as effectively on it. But now we have more information, so I'm ready to give you guys the highlights. ByLawal, which is a phenomenal AI account here on Twitter, gives us a quick TLDR. I will link the full thing down in the description if you want to read it, but it's quite long and there's quite a lot in there. So developers of very strong and powerful AI systems are required to give the government any critical information that the government might want on that AI system, as well as safety test reports. And the safety tests that they're going to be doing are called red team tests. It's the same kind of testing that happened with DALL-E 3 in its beta phase, and you can see how well that worked out. So red team testing really isn't the end-all be-all of testing, but it is better than nothing. There was a lot of information that people were wondering about being required to share safety testing and being required to share information with the government. So now that the full documents are out, we do have some insight into that, so I'll bring that up after we go over the basics. So the National Institute of Standards and Technology is going to be setting the standards for AI safety testing, and Homeland Security is going to be establishing an AI safety board to review critical infrastructures that might be weak against AI. I personally feel like the AI development is just going to rapidly exceed any kind of reviewing that's going to help you, but, you know, that's an opinion of mine. I feel like the government's just way too slow to be able to combat the rate at which AI technology can progress. So the government's also going to give some guidance on avoiding algorithmic discrimination. In that part of the document, they also did mention equity, which is pretty controversial, so we will see how that plays off. Department of Health is going to be looking at privacy-preserving techniques. I mean, our data privacy in America is already pretty abysmal, and I think around the whole world is pretty abysmal. So, you know, I understand the concern for privacy. However, like I said, I don't know how good of a job they're going to be able to do against rapidly developing technology. They also want to develop principles to protect workers from AI harms. Again, I don't know how well you're going to be able to do that. AI is a very, very powerful technology. It has the power to do a lot of good, and I mean a lot of good, but also quite a lot of bad. And any rapidly shifting and rapidly evolving technology usually does have the horrible side effect of putting people out of work. They're saying that they're going to develop principles to help with this, but how far can you really get is my question. They're also going to be funding research on privacy-preserving technologies. They also want to work internationally on AI safety, and they also actually want to hire AI talent to work in the government, so the government does want to utilize AI to some degree. So yeah, this is a rough breakdown. I'll link the whole thing down in the description if you want to look through it, but it's quite long. The fact that they want to require developers to share the safety tests as well as any critical information had a lot of people concerned about open source technology, but I do have a light at the end of the tunnel for you in regards to open source with these government regulations. As Bindu Reddy points out, this executive order might not have any impact on open source AI. So we now have access to the full text of the executive order, but it seems like a lot of these regulations only seem to apply to models that are trained on tens and thousands of GPUs, millions of dollars worth, and on any cluster with 10 10 to the 20 flops of GPU computing power. Setting it up based on GPU does seem pretty reasonable, and it should protect open source fairly well. And at a first glance, this GPU requirement only appears to affect OpenAI, Google, Anthropic, Meta, Microsoft. Smaller models seem to be safe for now. And this is actually a really great point by Bindu. Mistral 7B, which is a smaller large language model that's very efficient, it's already really great for its tiny size. It's not unreasonable to anticipate that in a year or two, a 70 billion sized model will match the performance of GPT-4 at the very least. In a super strange way, this really seems to keep those bigger companies at bay and actually boost open source in a way, because the big companies with the GPUs are going to be fighting each other while open source thrives. However, the government does reserve the right to lower their threshold and requirements to have to essentially report to them. It's also really important to note here, guys, that not everything is decided upon. Not all of the guidelines, not all of the regulations, and not all of the decisions have been made yet on this AI technology. It still is very much new. We just have to hope that the government takes the right steps into regulation, because you don't want too much, you don't want too little, you need just the right amount. And the government, well, they're not really known for doing the right amount of anything. Oh, and this was absolutely hilarious. The United States is trying to hire AI professionals, as I said earlier, and they're offering $155,000 a year for this. In the industry, you know, that's at least $400,000 a year. So they're offering less than half the pay for the same job, essentially. I don't know how the government's going to be able to hire any AI experts. Those people are extremely valuable to those big tech companies. So moving forward, I'm going to kind of rapid fire through a lot of these. We've got something really happy here. This is from Nvidia. Christoph Henkel got the top spot in a language recognition challenge by creating an AI model that actually detects fingerspelled characters and translates them into text. Essentially, this is an AI-powered video ASL translator. So this is one of those feel-good moments in the AI world, and I'm happy to see something like this exists. And guys, check out that finger and hand recognition. Could it be used for VR capabilities? I wonder. AI has the power to change every single sector. Stability AI, Deviant Art, and Midjourney got a lawsuit dismissed in court. This is brought to us by Franklin Graves. Essentially, these companies were being sued for copyright infringement in the AI models. However, the infringement claims were dismissed because it was kind of hard to prove them. Plus, this court case was really more about the Lion dataset, which is a massive text-to-image pairing dataset that was used for Stable Diffusion XL. Midjourney and Deviant Art weren't even involved with this dataset. Still, however, this dataset as well as Stable Diffusion were dismissed in court anyways. Direct quote from this: "I am not convinced that copyright claims based on a derivative theory can survive absent substantial similarity type allegations. The cases the plaintiffs rely on as evidence appear to recognize that the alleged infringer's derivative work must still bear some similarity to the original work or contain the protected elements of that original work." Essentially, you would have to really prove that some generated image from Stable Diffusion referenced solely or primarily to a specific copyrighted work. This is just massive news. It means that your favorite AI image generators aren't going anywhere, and these lawsuits, so far, they just aren't sticking. Speaking of Stable Diffusion, Emad, who is the CEO of Stability AI, its creator, posted this tweet that I thought I would include in today's video. In case you're wondering why AI stuff is speeding up again, it's because the 6-month pause we called for came to an end a little while, of course. I don't know how serious he is. It feels to me like there was no 6-month pause truly. I don't know though, things are speeding up in the world of AI. So you guys might remember last week I mentioned Midjourney's website got a huge overhaul. It made it a lot faster and easier to use. It's out for everybody at this point. So that is all fine and dandy, but you'll notice at the top of this, we have a little plus imagine coming soon, which means we are going to be able to generate Midjourney images on the Midjourney website. Hopefully Midjourney V6 comes out soon as well. But finally, Midjourney is moving away from using Discord to do everything. They figured out how to generate well with Discord, but it's just nice to have your own separate website to have everything done, essentially. Your images are now also categorized by date, and it's a lot easier to sort through and see all of them. It's a really nice website redesign. Now all we need to do is hope that Midjourney V6 will be able to compete with DALL-E 3, because I'll be straight up with you guys, I canceled my Midjourney subscription for now until they release something that is as competitive as DALL-E 3, because I just don't use Midjourney anymore. It's great and all, but I got DALL-E 3 now. Okay, this might actually be one of the pieces of AI news that I'm the most excited about today. This is Gen Music AI. Now it's like an official website and an official Twitter account that's going to exist as a business. Before, it was a research paper called the Gen-1 AI Music Generation, and it was quite simply the best AI music generation I had ever heard. I mean, it's insane. Not only is the music of a high fidelity, meaning I can hear all the different instruments individually, it's very clear, meaning 48 kilohertz audio. It's also stereo, meaning it comes out different sounds depending if it's on the right or the left. It's so exciting. It's a really great generator. I'm interested to see how this website goes and how much it's going to cost. But Futureverse, who did the original research, has introduced this as a website, Gen Music AI. But I mean, guys, this is just major hype, like major hype. This is better than any AI music generator you've ever heard before. The demos for Gen-1 and in comparison to other models are all on this website as well. So we don't really have a release date for this, but Gen 1 is definitely coming to the public, more than enough to get me hyped up. So we've also got a brand new open source AI video generation model that generates in a high quality. There's like, what, 3 or 4 of these now that are all open source? But yeah, AI video generation is gaining a lot of interest. It's gaining a lot of traction. It's the next big AI image thing. And as you can see, the quality of the video generation, I mean, it's not the best thing you've ever seen, sure, and it's still behind the closed source models, but yeah, open source is developing very, very quickly for AI video generation, honestly more quick than any other open source AI I can think of, maybe with the exception of large language models. But yeah, this is very exciting. I mean, it's a decent little video generation. It's consistent in the background. It's of a high quality. I'll do my best to follow all of this in the future, but AI video generation's really heating up, and I'm very excited for the open source models and to see how they evolve over time being open source. Oh, and one other thing in relation to AI video generation as well, this is text to video with an upgrade. FreeNoise is a brand new method that actually allows AI video generators to generate longer videos, up to 512 frames, which is actually 20 something seconds for a 24 frames per second video. I don't know if this one is going to be released open source, but I sure hope it does, because this is pretty exciting. One of the main setbacks and one of the main issues with AI video generation right now is the length. We can get a decently clear picture, we can get decently nice looking images with a little warping, but the longer generations are very difficult, and it's difficult to keep them consistent over time. So this looks very, very promising and is a nice little piece of research. So there's your little AI news roundup for today. It's actually not little, it's a pretty big one. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Lots of interesting stuff going on, both exciting and a little daunting even. For those of you watching on release day, have a happy Halloween, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.